Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me this evening. My name is Helene, the self-proclaimed one dish wonder, and I'm back with another little cooking episode just to show you how I make my burritos non-traditional style. And this is by request, so thank you so much for asking. I'm happy to do this. I was cooking anyway, so I figured might as well. So you can hear already I have the meat cooking, and you can make this with or without. You can make it totally vegetarian if you like. And I have lean, organic, grass-fed ground beef sauteing. I've already drained off the grease. I added a few spices, and hopefully you can see that. And I've already tossed in, now this might sound a little weird, but a half of good sized russet potato that I sliced and cubed up, and that adds a nice creaminess, good flavor and a creaminess to it. There's just something about that. That was my husband's trick, and he is a really good cook, as I've mentioned before. I just gave it a good scrub down, and I used the peel and all. And so now, while the potatoes are browning along with the meat, I have a half of a regular bell pepper. Okay, I'm going to toss in here. Give it a little stir. And some other add-ons, and then some optional. And if you want to, you can add your beans of choice. My preference, and again, I'm using canned, but because there's not always time to have a half a day to cook your beans down and everything. But I prefer the taste of homemade beans, but you know, for convenience, I do keep in stock organic beans, and so I either recommend pinto beans or black beans, which I am using tonight, and that'll be added on towards the end. And as far as vegetables go, I've got the half a bell pepper. I'm going to put a half of a fresh tomato in there in a little bit, and also this is a little bit less than a half a cup of organic corn, frozen corn, that I set out to thaw. I like the flavor that the corn adds, mixing with that a little bit of sweetness along with the spices. To me, it just blends real well. It adds extra vegetables, color, and flavor. You know, non-traditional, right? Okay, so I'm going to set the pinto beans aside and just go with the can of black beans. I've drained most of the juice, left just a little bit, adds more flavor. You can do this in a burrito, in a taco. You can do a tostada, and it's great if you want to do like a summer squash type of tostada, and do the yellow, that crookneck squash, a little bit of zucchini, your peppers, all the other ingredients, and put it on a bed of lettuce if you want to skip the tortilla altogether. And this is something kind of neat that we bought. We've only used it a couple times, but purchased it a few years back for a fundraiser. But I've seen these at kitchen stores, Bed Bath & Beyond, in different places, where you can make your own tortilla bowl. And hopefully I'm in close enough so you can see that. And these are non-stick. And you just take your flour tortilla and you push it down into the shape, and you cook it in the oven. Okay, so I keep this pretty simple. I do prefer fresh whenever possible, but our grocery store doesn't always have the mild green chilies, Anaheim Ortega chilies, also known as. So I keep some in stock, and these are fire roasted green chilies that I purchased at Trader Joe's, and they are mild. And before I start adding too much wet type ingredients and liquid, I want to make sure everything is browned really good, so you get that nice sear and the nice flavor on the potatoes too. And now I have out the cornmeal. It's the Bob's Red Mill, organic cornmeal, and if I was too far away the last time, I hope you can see a little better. I'm going to get up close so you can see the package if this is something you want to check out next time you're at the market. But I use quite a bit of the Bob's Red Mill products, and this is the medium grind. It comes, you can get an actual corn flour, medium or coarse grind, and it makes great cornbread too. But this I use a little bit for thickening, again for the flavor, a little bit of the texture, and once I start adding some of, like I said, the more liquidous type, you know, the beans, the chilies, the corn, all that has moisture in it, if it's a little too soupy, then I'll add this to thicken it up a little bit, maybe just a tablespoonful, if that. Okay, I wanted to show that to you. And while my food's preparing and cooking, and that's when I'll take the time and I'll just chop up the sides and put them on a tray. So I have a plate of that. I'll show that to you in just a sec. And as far as spices go, I keep it kind of simple. I don't do a whole lot of spices these days. You can also buy dried cilantro as well. To me, it smells pretty much just like regular parsley, regular, you know, but you can add this to it. Salt, the Redmond real salt that I had showed you the last time. So now, there we go. You can see that a little bit better now. A little bit of salt to taste, some black pepper. Y'all know what black pepper looks like. Some fresh or minced garlic. And I use a little bit of ground cumin, and just I sprinkle some in kind of lightly. You can always taste that later and add more, but can't take away. Cumin is very pungent and it can take over the flavors pretty quickly. And you can get some dried red chili pepper if you want to add dried chilies to that. And I did not have any, so I looked in the pantry, and I have some chipotle, some ground chili, organic chili chipotle is what that is. Chipotle type of chili. There you go, that's ground. And it adds a real nice kind of a smoky chili flavor to it. It's pretty mild. Not as in like, you know, chili dish that you eat, but the chili pepper type. So I add a little bit of that to it. And everything's cooking here. And one of the last ingredients, this may sound, again, kind of weird, different, and another trick that my husband did is you can buy a really good Mexican cheese, which is great on this, but it's not always available at the markets that we have. And we only have one little general store here in town, just has real basic stuff, so I have to drive a distance to go to actual grocery store, but I can't always find it. So you can use, to add to the creaminess and kind of soften and blend all the flavors together, maybe a tablespoon of cream cheese, a little sour cream in the mix, or what we do, because this is what we happen to have, and he tried it and it works really good, but you have to, once you add the other veggies and the beans and anything that has liquid, and then you let it all cook together, and it will cook down and blend, is I just take one heaping spoonful of cottage cheese, believe it or not, and that is very good too. Okay, so the meat, the potatoes are browning, cooking real well. I don't want to overcook and dry that out, so and this cooks up very, very quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and add a can of beans, my black beans. My corn. I'll wait a minute on the tomatoes. Going to add my can of green chilies. I try not to add too much of the cold stuff at once, because then that's going to cool the temperature down. I want to keep that up. And I'm going to go ahead and add the tomatoes. Oh boy, and isn't that looking good? And once this cooks, you won't see the curds, or you should not anyway. I just make sure I have that mixed in. I'm going to cover it. Turn the heat down to low. Let that come together. All the flavors do its thing. And I'll be right back. And then I'm going to show you the sides while that's cooking. Now you may wonder why there are no onions in there, and you can certainly put onions, whatever spices, vegetables, just play around with it. I'm allergic to onions, so that's a no on my list. And now as far as sides go, cheese, little sour cream. I have a tray here that I will show you. If you like salsa or a little hot sauce, you can put that on. Now I love salsa, but I can't eat most because of the onions, so my husband came up with a wonderful recipe, and we've both kind of played around with it together and have an onionless salsa recipe that I will make sometime and show you what we do if you're interested. So what I have as far as the side tray that you can put, the little extra options on top, is I put together some lettuce, whatever lettuce that you like. And I like olives on mine. Not everyone does, but I really do. And then there's some chopped fresh cilantro and some fresh uncooked tomatoes. And I put a little bowl of cheese, literally a small bowl, because that was all we had. But you can do whatever you want, or you can omit the cheese or use a cheese substitute. And then of course, have to have my fresh avocado. And now I have a ripe one. And I wanted to show you this. This is why I waited. And also I didn't want to cut the avocado too soon and have it sitting out because it'll turn brown. Oh, and another thing I just thought of is if you have a fresh lime on hand, not a whole lot because that can be strong, but you can either have a slice of lime on the side and cut that up. Someone, if they want to put lime in it, or you can actually add just like a quarter slice to the lime juice. I'm glad I thought of that because I happen to have one. I was saving that for the salsa, but we're out of cilantro. So anyway, this is such a cool tool. It's by Pampered Chef. I don't know if you're familiar with Pampered Chef or not. It's in the United States, and I haven't seen it anywhere else, like in the stores, but I haven't looked either. And you can see it's almost looks like a frosting spreading knife, but you can see it has a tapered shape to it, and it turns up at the edge, and it is slightly beveled. Hopefully you can see that on both sides. You can see how it turns up a little. This is specifically for avocados. And my husband's like, why don't you just use a spoon? Well, I'm a little challenged that way. I can never quite get it. So what this does, I'm right-handed, so I would turn with the bent portion facing me. And this cuts the skin. Okay. This will take out the seed, okay, which you can see it coming up. I'm not going to do because I'm only going to put half, and I'll leave the seed in with this wrapped in the fridge. I just wanted to show that to you. And then you slice it. You can have slice it just lengthwise and have strips, or you can cube it, which is what I'm going to do, and then you scoop it out of the skin all in one swoop. And try not to dump it in your cheese. Actually, I think I will just go ahead and do the whole thing. Yeah, pretty cool. I really like this. It's so handy. All in one. So quick, so easy. Because if I use a knife, I always wind up slipping and getting really close to cutting myself. Not something I want to do. That should be done pretty quick here. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, Now you can fill them up however much or little that you want to, and you're going to have to gauge that depending on the size of your tortillas, because if you overfill, then you're going to wind up busting them out at the sides. Just put a little bit of the hot sauce on for him. Whoa, that shot out. Good thing he likes it. So for mine, I am going to add a little cheese. And some olives. Fresh tomatoes. Lettuce. See if I'm going to be able to close this. And of course, some avocado. I figure what falls out, I'll just pick it up with a fork. So I fold in one end, bring the other over, kind of squish all that together. It's a little overfull, but that's okay. I turn this little edge in just to keep it from poking out the bottom, and then I just roll. I roll with it. That's it. My burrito. Oh, you like this one? Would you like? Oh, you're welcome to it. Go ahead. And you just want one? That's enough? Oh, sure. I'll just make another. We have plenty. Plenty here for everybody. So go ahead and take that, okay? I'll get you a napkin and something to drink. What would you like? I have the LaCroix, bubble water, and passion fruit, and we have filtered water. Just the water? Okay, sounds good. And then I'll make myself up one, and we can all sit down and have a lovely dinner together. So thanks again. Glad you could make it, and take care, everyone. I will see you soon. All right, thanks. Bye.